Good morning. Welcome to the annual general meeting of the University of California Trust. My name is Deborah Miller, and I'm the chair of the Board of Trustees of the UC Trust. I'm really delighted that today on our Zoom meeting, we have 74 participants representing all 10 campuses and the University of California Office of the President. And thank you all for joining us. Today, our agenda includes introducing our full UC Trust board to you, followed by one piece of board business. Then we will have the opportunity to hear from Greta Pa-Kerner, our executive director of the UC Trust, and her staff. They will provide updates on key milestones and a variety of activities of the UC Trust for our fiscal year 23-24. There will be opportunity for you to put questions into the questions channel at the bottom of your screen, and there will be a chance to unmute to ask questions at the end of our session today. But first, let me mention a few highlights of our success of the UC Trust in FY 23-24. We were delighted to welcome two new board members to the UC Trust board, Jody Anderson and Megan Kissinger, who you will meet shortly. Our staff fostered even greater engagement in Europe. The UC Trust also deepened our relationship with the Education Abroad Program, EAP. For the Spring 2024 Gala, 4 campuses purchased tables and sent representatives. And I'm really happy to say that for the May 10, 2025 Gala coming up, 5 campuses have already purchased tables for the Gala. Greta and her staff produced the second ever annual impact report, and the UC Trust celebrated our 25th anniversary. As you will see on this next slide, our history timeline records many successes over the years. We will not be reviewing this full history today, but following this meeting, you will receive an email with a digital copy of our FY 23-24 annual impact report, and that will be attached. You can review this timeline within that report. I'm now very happy to introduce you to our full UC Trust Board of Trustees. Board members, if you will please join me on the screen. I'm going to ask each of my colleagues to introduce yourselves and mention your affiliation with the UC Trust and how long you've been involved on the board. And I will start us off. My name is Deborah Miller. I'm chair of the board. I'm a former staff member at UC Berkeley and then at UCLA, where I was the executive director of campus-wide initiatives, including overseeing the UC Trust UCLA work in Europe. I'm also a UCLA parent and a Chancellor's Society member, and I've been on the board for 10 years. Heather, I'll turn it over to you.
Good morning. Heather Kopek, Executive Director of Institutional Advancement, and I also serve as the company secretary for the Trust. An alum of Davis for undergrad, an alum of UCLA for grad school, and I've worked at the Office of the President now for about 17 years. Working directly on the board with the Trust for about the last 5. So as I get older, this percentage changes, but I've spent roughly 50% of my entire lifespan connected to the University of California in some way.
Renee.
Good morning. My name is Renee Ducey. I'm a director and trustee of the UC Trust, and I am the Chief of Staff and Operations for Alumni Relations at UC San Diego. I have been in my role both as the Chief of Staff and Director and Trustee of the UC Trust for almost 3 years.
Going on around my screen, Jody.
Thanks, Deborah. So Heather, I think I actually have spent more than 50%, maybe more like 75% of my life affiliated with the UC. It's a good way to think about it. I have a degree from UCSB for undergraduate, and I have my PhD and master's from UCLA. I'm a former UC student regent, and I have worked in academic affairs at UCSB, where I was an assistant dean in the graduate division. I've also worked for the Education Abroad program as an academic liaison with programs in the United Kingdom. And most recently, I was the senior director for the UC Trust and senior director for UCLA External Affairs in Europe.
Thank you, Jody. Megan.
Hi, I am Megan Kissinger. I am the Assistant Vice Chancellor for UCLA College Development and oversee a couple other fundraising units at UCLA. I think I'm one of the newest members to this board, and I'm really delighted to be here and to learn about the UC Trust and to participate on behalf of UCLA.
Thank you, Megan. Jeff.
Hi, I'm Jeff O'Neill. I'm an alum and a parent more times over than I can count. Retired from UC now for several years, but after many more years working at UC, I was in general counsel's office when the trust was formed, and then I was in institutional advancement for another dozen or so years. So I think I've been involved with the trust for about 17 years, if my math is correct.
Thank you, Jeff. Brad.
Brad Barber, undergraduate and law graduate at Berkeley, former assistant vice president for institutional advancement, where I was present 26 years ago at the creation of the UC Trust, then UC Trust UK. So 26 years and counting for me. And if my math is correct, I've been associated with the university for 76.9% of my life. It's shocking, but then that's what happens when you reach my milestone in age.
Well, that's wonderful, Brad. Congratulations on that longevity with the UC. And Phil.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the meeting. Apologies for the noise behind me. Had I gone first, you wouldn't have heard them sawing down my building. I don't know what they're doing, but something seems catastrophic. But quickly, I will go through my background. I'm a UCSB graduate. I joined the board of the UC Santa Barbara Foundation in 2003. And then in 2011, I moved to London and got introduced through Jody to the UC Trust, was a volunteer there for 4 or 5 years and formalized that relationship by joining the board of the trust in 2017. And I'm excited to be here today and excited that so many other people are on the phone call with us.
And David. I think you're on mute, David. You're on mute. Thank you. Still on mute, looks like.
There we go.
Oh, perfect.
Usually I'm better with these things. I'm David Helson. I am a Berkeley grad from 1978. I have been associated with the trust since about 2006 or 2007. The years tend to blend after a while. I managed to get involved with it on the back of being involved in the old Berkeley and Britain Alumni Club. I come from literally generations of Berkeley affiliated people, including faculty 2 generations back, and also a series of relatives who've attended. To date, I think the only member of my family who has not been Berkeley affiliated is my sister, who went to Davis. Go figure. Anyway, nice to see you all.
Thank you, David. So board members, we will move on to our one piece of business today. You received an email with our minutes from last year's AGM. If I could entertain a motion to approve them.
Move to approve the minutes.
Great.
Second.
Brad, I saw your hand. Do I have a second? Thank you, David. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Great. The minutes have been approved. Thank you all so much. We will now move on to our next agenda item, and thank you, board members, for your excellent work for the UC Trust. I now have the pleasure of introducing
Okay, hello. I think Deborah's gone on mute. I hope you can hear me. I think you can.
Oh, so sorry. I
Yeah, it's okay.
apologize. I think I just touched the edge of my screen by mistake. So
Okay.
I just wanted to thank all the board members for your excellent work for the UC Trust. And now I have the pleasure of introducing you, Greta, as our Executive Director of the UC Trust. And thank you in advance. You and your staff will be giving us updates. We appreciate that.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you, Deborah. Hello, everybody. It's a pleasure to be able to talk about the 22-23 fiscal year and what the University of California Trust has been up to. I'm going to give a summary of what's going on, and then I'm going to ask the staff members to get involved in it. So just the first thing to say is what we do. So as the UC Trust, well, we work with alumni, we work with our study abroad students and donors and faculty from all 10 campuses. So we represent everyone. And actually we have representation on this call from all 10 campuses, which is fantastic. And we help bring the UC to the UK and to Europe. And really there's 4 pillars. It's enriching the lives of the alumni. So we work with the alumni. We work with enhancing the international experience for these UC students that are studying abroad. And we promote knowledge exchange and enable innovation. Finally, we facilitate giving back, whether that's a financial or whether that's volunteering with that. Moving along, our team in 2023-24, this is who was on our team. So the faces that you may recognize. We have our campus partners, and the campus partners, they're the ones that financially contribute to the running of the UC Trust. Now, I must point out that Violet Del Toro no longer is working and representing UCSD as the campus partner. So this was showing 23-24, but since then it's changed slightly a bit. So what I wanted to talk about is a bit of what we've been doing over the 23-24 year. And I think it was a really important time to really deepen that relationship between the UC Trust and the campuses. So spending a lot of time getting to know, getting to meet the different, I guess, departments in the campus and seeing kind of what they want out of the trust, how we are being the boots on the ground in the UK and Europe can help. So one thing that we found that really supports the campuses is this idea of providing outreach, whether it's through LinkedIn, whether it's through invitations, whether it's newsletters, really giving that outreach, and then advice. Since we have ideas of what works, what doesn't work in the UK and Europe, we're able to share that advice with the campuses. And then we also provide event support, whether it's helping with registration or actually running of it, or paying a deposit that we will then be paid back. So there is that type of support we give. And then another thing we've done with the campuses, we've been able to share this idea of supporting students with innovation opportunities. This has come up, the Global Challenge Lab. That is something that we're able to send back to the campuses and say, hey, do you have any students that want to participate in this global virtual sprint? And last year, Irvine and San Diego participated in this Global Challenge Lab that is run by Imperial College London. So we will then extend that again in June and July to the campuses, and we'd hope to see more uptake. It would be fantastic to give this opportunity to the students that are actually on the UC campuses. Finally, or lastly, we have a greater collaboration with the different campuses. And why this is different than providing the outreach and advice is because it's the collaboration between campuses. What we found is working together from campus to campus to campus, we're able to do bigger and better events that lead to more impact and lead to higher engagement that we have. So it's really about working together, collaborating across different campuses because the whole is better than the sum of the parts. And we believe that we can help as the UC Trust add that to it. Lastly, we've been able to introduce new alumni to campuses. So going about our business, we meet new alumni all the time, people that we might not have known about, that you might not know about. And we're happy to share those names and those people. And if we know something about them, we're happy to share that as well, because everybody has a different motivation to why they want to keep connecting with the UC campus. So not only have we built a deeper relationship with the campuses, we have also built a deeper relationship with study abroad. We have increased our collaboration with EAP, which is the Education Abroad program, the central office. We now work every year to do at least one flagship event somewhere in Europe with the central EAP office. We also have been working on enhancing that enhancing the education, that experience by hosting career panels and mixers in various countries. And that's a fantastic opportunity for the study abroad students to mix and meet alumni and actually see what their future can look like and see, oh, if I go into data science, what are the kind of jobs I can get in something, for example, like data science? And it's also an opportunity for the alumni to look back and think, oh, I remember back when I was a student. So it's a fantastic way of kind of connecting alumni with the students that are studying abroad. And our students, I have to say, I'm very proud to say, have attended different events. They've attended our TTT, which is a third Thirsty Thursday. They've come to our welcome events, and they volunteered at our gala. And again, this is an opportunity for them to kind of enhance that study abroad experience, have them have a deeper and a richer relationship with the UC system and with Europe. And lastly, we've been able to, over the 23-24 year, help facilitate internships. And this is an example of one through a relationship with an alumni who worked at a data company called Big Spark. We were able to work with the EAP office up in Scotland to set up a student internship for them in Edinburgh. So we would hope to do more of that as we see these opportunities come up and about. So giving, again, that's one of our 4 pillars. What we did in the 23-24 year is we helped give more information in a webinar to alumni and for campuses about what are the possibilities, ways of giving, and how it's tax effective. Todd is going to be talking about that in a little bit. And we have also helped facilitate large donations. So while it didn't go technically through our books, UC Irvine, we did help facilitate a large gift that keeps recurring every year for the next 5 years from Germany. And I think it's important to point out at this point that we do have, with our bank accounts here, we have a Great British Pound one, we have a dollar account, and we're in the process of setting up a euro account. So we're able to help with the financial flows and the giving from other kind of select continental European countries. We also were able to help facilitate the beginning of a scholarship fund. After the gala, there was a Berkeley alum who was so just motivated and excited and impressed by what he's seen and his wanting to give back. He went back and he started a scholarship fund. And so that is a direct contribution to the gala and the giving that we have done as the UC Trust. Lastly, it's about volunteering too. We've had, in the 23-24 year, we've had over 100 volunteers. Now, volunteers do a little bit more than participants. They think of ideas, they organize, they help us get attendees, they speak, they run committees, They run events. So we had over 100 volunteers, UC alum, that have helped us. And that's fantastic to see. And that's in the UK as well as in Europe. Now, it can't be, we can't talk about this in an annual general meeting without talking about governance. 23, 24 was a great year in terms of kind of fixing governance and making sure that we're staying true to our charitable cause. We created a code of conduct policy, a data policy, as well as a conflict of interest form. We also created an employee handbook so that everybody knows what we're able to do and what we're not able to do as employees of the UC Trust. Our audit accounts, well, they continue our flawless audit record. And something I want to talk about now is we've set up a foreign exchange, more effective foreign exchange control using a company called Monex, so that we're able to effectively give and have a bit more control over the financial flows between donors, between us, and then between you, the campuses. So I'm going to now spend a little bit of time going through what that looks like. So Monex, this is a perfect example of one of the donations we've received. So if you look in the blue box, you see that we received a 20,000 pound donation that was received to our finance manager. And what he does is he forwards these funds to our Monex account. So that's an example, that's a screenshot of the funds going into that account. Then what happens is we instruct Monex to sell our Great British Pounds and buy US dollars at a contracted rate. So at this point, we have a very clear idea of what the rate is that that we will be converting from pounds to dollars in. In this case, it went from 20,000 pounds to $25,000. Then those funds are credited to the UC Berkeley Foundation's bank account at Bank of America. So the funds go to Berkeley and they're from Monex. They're not from the UC Trust, but the reference is the UC Trust when it comes over. So the use of Monex, why this is important is it's a much more transparent process. We know the exchange rate, we know who processed the trade, we know the origin and the destination of the funds. There's less fees because we're paying a lot less bank transfer fees. And something I do want to point out, and it's very important you know that the UC Trust, we never withhold an admin fee for our work. So we pass through all the funds. It's quicker. It takes 24 hours to process. And something that we haven't done yet, but I want to kind of tease it out there and make sure you know this, is that we have the ability to buy a foreign exchange forward. So if we know a donation is coming from somebody, whether it's a regular annual donation or if it's a one-time donation, we can look at buying a forward so that we can have a locked-in exchange rate for that amount. So that could help with planning. So that's it. That's the benefits of Monex. We're going to keep using it. And as I said, we are using the Euro account. We're starting that Euro account. Now what I'd like to do is pass it over to my colleague, Todd Shelley. Todd, are you there? Can I pass it over to you?
Yes, I am here. Thank you so much, Greta, for all of that. And hello, everyone. My name is Todd Shelley, and I'm the Operations Manager for the UC Trust. I'm very happy to see so many familiar names in the list of participants and several new ones. Welcome. We're thrilled to have you. So tonight, I'm going to begin talking about how we facilitate giving back at the UC Trust. For those of you who've been working with us for a while, you will know that we have a few primary methods for facilitating gifts. First, a donor with UK tax liability can make a gift to the UC Trust for the benefit of their home UC campus stateside. A donor with liability in the UK and the US can work with one of our partners, such as the National Philanthropic Trust or the Charities Aid Foundation, to take advantage of benefits available in both nations. Or a donor living in Europe with concern for their US liability can give directly to UC and work with us to identify programs in need on campus. If you have questions about any of these various channels, I'm happy to discuss them in our Q&A later or talk with you by email. You'll get my email at the end of the presentation, I swear. But today, I want to highlight one form of income that you may already be utilizing for your own program: corporate giving. These are gifts from corporations and limited companies based in the UK who want to support an initiative on campus that aligns with their own values. So, in the past 5 years, the UC Trust has facilitated nearly $6.5 million in gifts from businesses across the UK to the UC system. This is about 45% of our income for that period. In the last year alone, we've allowed corporations to gift over $1 million to the university for programs such as the Human Mortality Database at UC Berkeley, which is conducting incredible research on the human lifespan worldwide. One last benefit that I'm sure you've all thought of, but I do want to highlight, is that gifts from the UK corporations that meet certain criteria can reduce their tax liability. This is a major benefit to businesses in the UK who wish to be charitable, and it could be a selling point for any development officers on the call looking to sweeten the deal. So you'll probably all have questions about the benefits available to UK individuals who want to contribute to UC as well. And this is where we can talk about the magic of gift aid. This is essentially a matching gift program set up by the UK government. So for every gift made by a UK taxpayer, we as a UK charity can get a boost of 25% of the gift from the government. So I'll give you a real example of this from last year. Every year, we receive donations and pledges at our annual UC Alumni UK Gala. Of course, a delivery is coming as I'm in the middle of this. Don't worry about it. This year, we had a pledge of £1,000 to support study abroad scholarships at UCLA. For some donors, that's a lot of money to give in a lump sum, so we decided to help out the donor by figuring out how to make the payments a bit more manageable. One way to do this was by including gift aid within the amount of the pledge. Donors are able to decide whether they want to add gift aid on top of the pledge for a bit of an extra gift, or to include it within their pledge to meet their charitable contributions without adding undue stress. And the donor here decided on the latter. So we broke down the gift into 4 payments made quarterly of £200 each. Once we added the 25% gift aid from the government, which is £50 per gift, the quarterly donation became £250, completing the pledged amount of £1,000. And then once you factor in the conversion rates, the donor ended up giving approximately $1,300 to study abroad scholarships at UCLA. I do want to reiterate that this program is available to donors with tax liability in the UK. We're currently strengthening our programs for donors based in continental Europe, and I hope to be able to share more about that with you at our next AGM in 2026. For now, though, I'm going to talk about our alumni engagement here in the UK. Many of our donors are members of our vibrant alumni community here in London, Cambridge, Oxford, Edinburgh, what have you. And having this community helps them maintain strong connections with their home UC campus. As the international UC community is smaller than the domestic for obvious reasons, we work with a system-wide group, UC Alumni UK, to benefit expat alumni from across the UC system. This year was a major year of growth and development for the group. Our UC Alumni UK leaders began the year working with leaders from 6 campuses, including 2 business schools, to develop the community here in the UK. By the end of the year, we had a leadership election and added several new campuses to our leadership roster. In fact, for the first time since the group's inception over a decade ago, we have representation in leadership from all 9 undergraduate campuses of the UC system. Our work with the group to continue growing and strengthening the community is ongoing, and we cannot wait to share all the work UC Alumni UK will accomplish going forward. For now, let's take a look back at this year of growth for the group. We kicked off July with the annual summer celebration in central London, which saw greater campus representation and several new faces who continue to be actively engaged with the group. We built on the momentum with the network kickoff in October, which was an opportunity for alumni leaders to introduce themselves to newly arrived alumni and study abroad students. Several of these alumni and a few students returned to volunteer with us at the annual UC Alumni UK Gala, which is our flagship fundraising event in support of student scholarships. This gala also saw increased engagement with the UC campuses, with 4 campuses purchasing tables and sending representatives to join in the festivities. We also engaged a large number of student volunteers to help us raise funds for their peers, as you can see in the image on the bottom right, depending on how the camera's working. These volunteers were crucial in raising funds at our raffle, reminding attendees to visit our silent auction, and putting a face to the cause at hand. Of course, as we've said many times in this presentation, one of our primary pillars of purpose is to enhance the student experience, and the volunteer experience at the Gala was only one way we achieved this. In this year, we moved offices to a space up the street from the UC EAP London Study Centre and the London Accent Office to facilitate collaboration with these primary hubs for UC students abroad. Now it's easier to connect with the directors of these offices to put on initiatives such as the Careers Evening in November, in which our alumni panel helped to inspire students on how to achieve a successful career internationally. Our student volunteers at the Gala raved about their time working with us, and our farewell barbecue at the end of the year provided a final opportunity for students to make plans to reconnect before returning stateside. You'll have a chance to learn more about some of our other work with students in the presentation just after mine. But this work would be impossible without our vibrant alumni community. To help them help us, we have allocated funds in our annual budget to help our groups plan activities for the community, alums and students alike. We also assist the groups with marketing their activities to the community at large, including advice and email templates to active boosts in newsletters and social media. This support has helped existing groups such as our Sustainability Committee and our Running Club to grow their efforts and reach new members. New groups such as the UC Irvine UK Alumni Chapter and UC Pride UK have also benefited and even provided opportunities for more alumni to find a home in our community. So, like I said, I'll be happy to take questions at the end in the Q&A, but for now, we'll leave the UK and head to continental Europe with our engagement manager, Romy Stein. Romy, I pass along to you.
Thanks so much, Todd. I am Romy Stein. I am the engagement manager at the University of California Trust. I am going to be discussing alumni engagement in Europe, as well as sharing some data about engagement generally over the last fiscal year. Next slide, please. So as Greta touched upon briefly, in October, we had the opportunity to travel with the UC EAP Central Office to Spain. They were going there to celebrate the 50th anniversary of exchange with the University of Barcelona. And we hosted 2 alumni events there, one in Madrid and one in Barcelona. We found that there was a strong desire for the alumni community to connect over there, and having the common ground of education at UC is a really great starting place. Due to the strong engagement we saw there, we decided to continue working in Spain, partially because it's the most popular place for UC students to go study at the moment, and also because there's an estimated over 10,000 alumni there from across the campuses. Next slide, please. So this graph details our total event participation to date from all of our events across the UK and Europe. As you see, the orange line illustrates the last fiscal year, and it is much higher than the previous 3 years. And we do think that's partially due to the work that we've been doing on continental Europe. Next slide, please. This is a breakdown of attendance by campus. and UCLA, UC makes up 36.2% of participants. We do think that that's partially due to the partnership we have with UCLA and having a campus partner over here. And then with UCSD, they're almost 1 in 5 individuals, and that's again due to a lot of the work that the campus partners have done. Next slide, please. So these two charts indicate number of events by country and also individual attendance by country. What we mean by individual attendance is a single person that comes out to an event in that country rather than the total number of people coming to the event. And we have most of our events in the UK since we're based here, but it's interesting to see that with Spain, for example, we only host 13.6% of our events there. However, the Spanish community makes up 20% of our total participation, which to me indicates a really robust, strong, and interested community over there. Next slide, please. Over the last year, we've also worked really hard to expand one of our pillars, which is knowledge exchange. And what we've been working to do is engage faculty, both faculty from the University of California that are coming to the UK and Europe, but also alumni who become faculty of universities across the continent. This event in this photo is from the UCLA Promise Institute for Human Rights in Europe. It details 2 faculty members speaking about the research going on there, as well as 2 students sharing their experience, and also on the left, Chancellor Jean Block. Next slide, please. So these are detailing a few of our events that have occurred this last year. And we really try to put on a diverse body of events so that there's something for everyone, whether it's discussing climate or human rights, dyslexia, AI. Again, that's really important that it's a diverse body. And the reason also that we really want to engage alumni who turn faculty, even if they're not necessarily a faculty member at UC, is because 1, it builds relationships with other universities across Europe. 2, I think alumni are often really interested in hearing what other alumni are doing. 3, it also celebrates the UC education. It shows what it can lead to. And lastly, when we have students come to these events, they can see what their possibilities are and future career paths. Next slide, please. So in Q1, we hosted 2 events, one with a group of UCSD alum about climate change. And then this photo is from an event in London with Hal Hirschfield, a professor of UCLA Anderson, who was discussing the idea of connecting with your future self, but also potentially the disconnect with your future self. And that was toured over multiple cities in Europe. It went to Milan, Madrid, Paris, Lausanne, and London. Next slide. Our UC Alumni Sustainability Network over here in Europe is a group that meets virtually, and they really work to engage faculty members at the University of California. This was an event that they hosted featuring Dr. Tehrani, who's a UCI alum and also a faculty member at UCSF on climate change and health. Next slide. Then in Q3, we hosted 3 events with faculty members. The photo here is with Iqbal Sadhu, a UC Berkeley faculty member, and he was discussing generative AI to a group of about 50 to 60 alum in Madrid. Next slide. Then in Q4, we had a few different events. Again, it's a mixture between faculty members from UC that come over here and also alumni who are doing interesting things and our faculty members at universities. So this photo is a group of faculty members from ESA Business School in Barcelona. They're all UC alum, and we did a series of mini talks discussing geopolitics, the future of real estate, and social enterprise. Again, the mini talk thing was very good because it's a little bit of content for everyone. I think that's it, Todd. Thank you, everyone.
Wonderful. Thank you, Romy. Appreciate that. So as you can see, we've been busy over the 23-24 fiscal year, and we've done a lot of different activities, kind of touching the lives of alumni, of campuses, of students, of professors, trying to balance social with academic, and really kind of underpinning our charitable aim, which is advancing education as a registered charity over here in the UK. So I wanted to just, this final section, talk a little bit about ways that we can collaborate together. So moving to the next slide. This slide is sort of a continuum. On the left, where we see yes, and then right, aspirational. These are the different type of activities that we can do or do here at the UC Trust, with obviously with limited staff and with limited budget. So things such as HR support, I will be bringing that up later. Delegations, when leadership come over, we would love to help make that a richer experience and get more out of that trip over here. Things like the event support and the gift processing, that outreach we're doing, and innovation and mentorship. So these are things that we do, and we can absolutely support you. We are here to help the campuses in the UK and Europe. That is our sole reason for being over here. So moving on to the next slide, if you would. Just so you know, online on our website is a calendar of events. So if you go into that calendar, what you can do is you can see select the month, and you can see the different activities, and it's a hyperlink. So if you click into any of these activities, you can then learn more, as well as you can register for the events. So this is actually also a registration page. So a lot of times when I want to know what's going on, I actually go into this as well. So this is a front-facing public website-based calendar that is our registration page. So the QR code, we'll be circulating this afterwards, but this QR code will lead you right to this events page that we have online. So moving on. So this year and beyond. So this year, meaning 24-25, there's several things that we've done. We've been busy bees over here. So one thing we're doing is dual resident webinars. It is so complicated being both a UK resident as well as a US citizen. And there's a lot of implications for this, for planning your taxes, investments, real estate, all these types of things. So we have partnered with a company called Maseko, and they're really helping put together a series of events about just education about what you can and can't do, the pitfalls, and what you should be doing in terms of investments and planning ahead. We've also, we have coming up in April, a UCSD alum who works for Withers. She is going to be doing a planned giving, and this is so important. We're going to be inviting the campuses, the planned giving offices, to this too, because the inheritance tax in the UK is a heck of a lot higher than the inheritance tax in the US. And if an alum who has, I guess, liabilities or assets over here in the UK, they cannot give to a US charity directly. They have to give through a UK charity in order for that tax relief. And so we can play a very big role in that. And that's one thing that I want to make sure we're going to be doing more of and more actively. And this has come up because Santa Cruz, an alum asked one of the foundation there I want to bequeath in my IRA to the campus. And what they instructed is, okay, we'll do that through the University of California Trust because you have all this assets over in the UK. So that is a very important thing that we're going to be giving. So moving on, something else, we are onboarding new UK employees on behalf of the campuses. This is something I don't know if all of you know, and I want to make sure you're aware of the fact that since we are a UK charity over here, based and registered company over in the UK, we are able to employ staff and faculty. So a lot of times, for various reasons, UC campuses that have staff that live in the UK, they have to live here, whether they're here on a grant as a researcher, whether they're just living here for personal reasons, for family reasons, or whether just they're part of a development team over in Europe. We can help onboard them onto our books, and then we establish a relationship with the main campus back home for that. That's how we work with UCLA. We worked with UCSD with that. San Francisco, we are looking at doing a faculty member at San Francisco, which is a bit more complicated because she signs for grants back at San Francisco. So we're working that through. And then we have one coming up for Santa Cruz. So again, that is a service we provide. There is then a fee, a professional services fee that the campus pays to just cover the costs of them running that, us helping run that. Next, again, that planning and hosting leadership from campuses. I'm working right now with Berkeley's executive education. We're putting together a fantastic series of events and meetings in both Madrid and London. And so we really encourage your leadership to come over and to Europe, and we will help you with that process and kind of making sure that that visit is as impactful as it can be. Next. Also, we're always looking for collaboration opportunities for campuses, whether it's things like that challenge lab, whether it's opportunities, for example, the UK embassy has, a new culture grant coming through. We're always looking for opportunities, and we share them with the campuses. And then it's up to you guys as the campuses to help make these things a reality. So we can bring them to you, we can lead it to you, but then we absolutely need you to help us with that collaboration. And we also want to continue that work of collaborating across campuses. Now, my final slide before we get to question and answers is this one I showed you before, that vision for the future. But what I've done is I've circled in red that aspirational area. This is an area which we would love to do. We do some things in it, but we would love to do more. But this is based on collaboration with you. It's based on getting more financial support if it's something that you want to do. And it's just an area which, as a staff members, we would love to spend more time working on. Things like the research, the campus partners, having more of that. Again, more campus donations to campuses from Europe. We're in the process of setting up an online donation form for Europe, and that Euro account that I talked about earlier will help us do that. So we're going to try to make it as easy as possible from select countries. Some countries are very difficult to accept donations from. Again, parent engagement, so important. Parents have such pride. You heard the trustees at the beginning talking about how their parents of their children have gone to UC. So that's a huge untapped market for pride, for brand, for gifting, so forth. And eventually, I would love to get more involved with that employment pipeline. So that's aspirational, but working with you guys, I want to make it not just aspirational, but actually the future. So saying that, what we would like to do now is move on to questions. So I'd like to invite my colleagues, Todd and Romy, to come on and let's field a few questions. So you can either put them in the chat, or you can ask to be removed, or your speaker taken off, and you can say what you want to say. So Todd, you want to kind of run some of this?
How do you mean?
Well, look, is there any questions? Let's see. Q&A. Oh, there's no questions. Okay. Does anybody have any questions in terms of that they want to say out loud? I'll just tell you that we have in the chat, there's a few. Exec Ed appreciates our support for their visit in February. And so thank you. Thank you for that. Anything else anybody wants to say? We have 6 minutes left.
I'm slowly allowing everyone the opportunity to speak. If you are not allowed to unmute, don't worry, I'm getting to you.
And also, I must say that the last slide, Deborah's going to come back on and kind of conclude, and you'll see all our contact information, because maybe what you want to talk about is, you know, something that we could talk about on email with staff members, and it's not relevant to everybody. So it's up to you to decide. Okay. Well, if we don't have any questions, shall we then put back on the slide, put up our details, and maybe I can hand it back over to Deborah.
So Greta, Todd, and Romy, thank you for your superb work for the UC Trust. Remarkable, wonderful work that you're doing for us in Europe. I wanted to thank also Matthew Daines, Executive Director of Development, UCLA Europe, for your collaboration and ongoing support. And thank you to each of you for joining us today. We would be delighted to have you join us in London on May the 10th for our gala. Within the next several days, you'll receive a follow-up email, which will include your digital link to our annual impact report, a link to information about the gala, and this contact information you're seeing here will also be included in the email. Please do not hesitate to contact us with any questions or ideas you may have. We look forward to partnering with you for the work of the University of California in Europe, now and far into the future. Thank you so much.